Good evening. There have been some important developments in cases featured last month, but with 3 inquiries still at a critical stage, we can't report back much at present. Suffice it to say, there has been 1 arrest as a direct result of calls. A man has been charged with rape, and detectives expect more arrests to follow in several other major investigations. And with some of the explicit details we've got in the next 40 minutes, there are bound to be results tonight. We've 3 vivid reconstructions that might trigger memories, pictures of people you might know, and descriptions of cars you might have seen. And if you've ever been burgled, property that might belong to you.
Our first case is one I think made an impression on most of us. It was in the news for several days 4 weeks ago. In Cheshire, near the village of Neston, a 13-year-old girl was abducted and severely assaulted. I have to warn you that it's a very upsetting case, but in showing it on tonight's programme, we feel there's an especially strong likelihood of it being solved, simply because there are so many details that we can give you about the crime. A man with a blue hatchback car, a fair-haired baby in a child seat at the back, a house with a parquet floor, a baby stairgate, particular furniture in the kitchen, and a distinctive floral duvet cover in the bedroom. And detectives working on this case are convinced that there will be viewers tonight who will recognise one or maybe more than one of these things. For obvious reasons, in the film that follows, an actress plays the part of the young victim and reads extracts from her statement to the police. It's early in the evening of Friday, the 6th of January.
She's never late.
Do you know when she was last seen?
The stables. She left about 4 hours ago. Yes?
Dad?
Oh, Joanne, where are you? We've been worried. We've been looking everywhere for you.
I'm at Knutsford service station, Dad. Please come and... Dad, this man tried to hurt me. Come and get me, Dad.
Stay there. Don't go away. She's at Knutsford.
PC 977 to control, over.
It's just the worst possible nightmare, you know, that this should happen to your child. You always think that it will never happen to you. And, you know, here it was, happening to us.
I was horrified to think that this girl coming through the door was my daughter, and I just couldn't believe that these things had happened to her in the hours since I'd last seen her, when she was just going off to the stables quite happily.
I really like horses. I help out at the stables 3 times a week during school holidays. You know, mucking out, brushing the yard, things like that. My dad only lets me go though, provided I'm back before it gets dark.
When I'm interviewing children over matters of indecency, and so long as they're agreeable, I always ask that the parents stay in the adjoining room so that any emotions that they have won't upset the child during the interview.
Tell me what happened when you left the stables.
I was going down Haddon Lane.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
Excuse me. Can you tell me where the nearest phone is, please?
Yeah, I can. The nearest one's just up there by the house.
I want you to describe the man to me as best you can.
He was about 30, 35. About 5'10", taller than my dad. Stocky build.
What kind of hair?
Dark brown. Collar length, and it was gel back. We went as far as Westvale. After that, I couldn't see anything else because the man moved the parcel shelf.
Try to visualise the direction the car took from Westvale. Just see if you can put yourself back there and think about the movements of the car.
And I remember going down a potholed road. And then we stopped. And I think he opened a gate. We carried on. And after a bit he stopped. The man got out and opened the boot. He started to carry me inside. And I said, "What do you want from me?" He said, "Just do as I say." I said he could have my money, that had money in the bank. And then he just took me upstairs and took me into the bedroom. I was really scared. And then he ripped my clothes off. I can't remember anything else. I think I must have blacked out.
You coming for a drink, Ellie?
No thanks.
I'm sure this was on his kitchen floor.
OK. Now, you said you could remember the tops of the kitchen units. Just have a look through some of these, but only pick one out if you're absolutely sure, OK?
Yeah. The surfaces look like this one.
Good. Now, can you remember anything else about the house? Anything?
The white doors. And when you took me up the stairs, there was a baby gate at the top.
OK. So you went through the baby gate. What then?
Into a room with a double bed.
And can you remember anything about the bed?
Cream sheets, cream quilts with flowers on.
I can't take much.
I think they stole my
They're going
clothes
to have to
off.
go through all this if they're going to catch this.
That's when I must have blacked out.
I just felt as if I wanted to go in the room and just hug her and be with her. But you can't do that because it's just far too distracting for the child.
After the bedroom, I woke up in the boot of the car again. We drove around for a while. Then he stopped, got out of the car, and he opened the boot. Then he tried to strangle me with the chain. And went on forever. Then I think I must have blacked out again.
Right, get out. Keep on walking. Walk that way.
Did you have anything on your feet?
No, it was cold. It was a country lane. The floor was muddy and there wasn't any lights. But I remember seeing the cars in the distance.
I feel that I have not yet completely come to terms with exactly what has happened to her, but I'm trying to keep as cool about it as I can, because I feel that if I go to pieces, I won't be of any assistance whatsoever to my daughter.
It is a very, very difficult time for everybody. And I just hope that this man is caught soon so that nobody else will have to suffer like we have.
Well, I have to say that film has deeply affected everybody on this programme. But it's true to say, isn't it, there's so many specific details, Neil Johnson, about this case that you feel quite strongly that somebody must know something. There's quite a lot of accumulated information about the man himself, isn't there?
Yes, there is. We've been able to put together quite a strong picture. Starting off with the EFIT, which is as a result of a description by the victim herself. He's described as a white male, 5'10", stocky build with dark brown hair, which is brushed back, it's over his ears and possibly gelled. He's got a long face and a big nose.
What about the car he was driving? Do you know much more about it than that it was blue and a hatchback?
No, not really. It's a family-sized saloon car which has got a hatchback. It had in it a forward-facing baby seat. That was light blue in colour with small white dots on it, and in that seat was a young baby.
Now, if you can find, of course, the house, you can find the man. So what do we know about the house?
Yes, there are many clues in the house, and we've been able to accumulate some similar items, which I have here. Starting off, the girl was taken from the boot of the car. She was then taken up some steps into the kitchen, which had a polished parquet-type wooden floor similar to this one. And there were some kitchen units which were set on a black plinth and had wooden oak grain doors with antique catches on, very similar to those. And there was a work surface which is of a mottled speckled design, similar to the one that we have there.
It's got a sort of pink and brown speckles on a beige background.
Yes, that's right. She was then taken from the kitchen through a white door, most of the doors were white, up the stairs, and there was a white handrail on the left-hand side. And she turned left at the top of the stairs, where there was a white gate, baby gate, that opens in the centre, similar to the one here. She was then taken into the bedroom, where there was a double bed with cream sheets, and there was a duvet cover on the bed, which was also cream with a flowered pattern on, but we've been unable to find a similar one to that.
Right. What about the dog chain and the spade you've got there?
Yes, the dog chain. The girl, after the assault in the house, was put into the boot of the car again and was taken in the car to Bowden, as we've seen. And a dog chain was used, very similar to this, in a concerted attempt to strangle the girl. And it's quite possible at this time, which wasn't at Bowden, that the chain was lost, although I'm not sure of that, but it is a possibility. And also found at the scene is this very old spade, which is just a normal garden spade, which is very rusty, with some nicks in the bottom as if it's been used to bend over or spry something open. It is quite distinctive, the spade.
What kind of man do you think did this you're looking for?
The information that I have to hand tells me that this man is liable to be a normal or outwardly normal family man, perhaps with children of his own, who hasn't committed a similar offence to this before, but the same source of information tells me that he is liable to commit another offence in the near future, and there can only be one result in that, and that'll be the tragic death of a young girl. And I hope that we can prevent that happening to a family by somebody bringing forward to the police or to this programme and putting together one or two or three of these items, which gives them the clue that they know the identity of our offender. And I plead to that person to come forward.
Neil Johnson, thank you very much. If any of these things do look familiar to you, I can only appeal to you to please ring. It may be a really difficult and painful phone call to have to make, but the fear with this type of case is that always the attacker might repeat his crime with even more disastrous consequences. Here in the studio, the number to call is 0500 600 600, or the direct line to Detective Inspector Neil Johnson's colleagues at the incident room in Cheshire is 01244 612 999. Your calls, he assures me, will be treated with sensitivity and delicacy. The number again, 01244, the code for Chester, 612 999.
Well, let me now tell you something about last month's photo call, which had a very strong response. First, a man wanted in connection with the murder of his ex-wife in Gwent and a serious assault on her new partner. The day after our appeal, a fireman in East London saw an altercation in the street and summoned the police. A man has been charged with one murder and one attempted murder. Several viewers gave the same address for a man wanted in connection with a serious assault in Ealing in West London. A man was arrested and has now been charged with rape. And a woman who might help inquiries on deceptions prompted calls. As a direct result, she was identified. She's now awaiting questioning. Now here are Superintendent David Hatcher, Detective Constable Jackie Hames with this month's photo call appeal.
Ian Frederick Green was last seen in Watford, Hertfordshire in October 1994. But where is he now? During 1993 and 1994, bank accounts were opened in the Watford area under an assumed name, and loans were obtained by deception. Ian Green may have information about these matters. He's 37, about 6'3" and very stocky, probably weighing about 17 stone. He has dark wavy hair and may have a moustache. Call us tonight if you know where he is now.
Colleagues in Cambridge would like to speak to these men in connection with a burglary. During the early hours of Saturday the 10th of December, 4 men entered a village shop in Histon. They stole a large amount of alcohol and cigarettes before escaping in a yellow Austin Maestro van. The vehicle was later found burnt out in Easington on the outskirts of Durham. This man is 5'8" and in his early 30s. The second man's about the same age but taller. If you recognise any of them, please ring us tonight.
Perhaps you know this man. We'd like to speak to him in connection with a series of deceptions. On Monday the 19th of December, documents were stolen from a house in Red Hill, Surrey. These were used several times, mostly in London's West End, and hundreds of pounds worth of goods were obtained fraudulently. The man we'd like to speak to is about 5'8" tall, of proportionate build. If you recognise him, please call us here tonight.
Finally, colleagues in Bedfordshire need your help to find two particularly violent robbers. At around 2:30 p.m. on Thursday the 2nd of February, the Alliance and Leicester Building Society in Manchester Street, Luton, was raided. A customer was held at knife point while the robber demanded money. He's about 30, 5'10", with short brown hair. His accomplice, well disguised, was slightly shorter, wearing a bright green cagoule and tinted glasses. If you recognise them or can help with any of our other photo call cases, please ring now.
And our number here in the studio is 0500 600 600. That's free call 0500 600 600.
Well, now a case that's caused a sense of revulsion across the west of Scotland. The murder, for no apparent reason, of Shona Stevens. It happened 3 months ago, and detectives had hoped the inquiry, like most murder investigations, would have been completed quickly. But the attack on Shona still has too many elements of mystery, and hence tonight this nationwide appeal. The events took place in Ayrshire last November.
Hello, Kevin. Hi, John. What's the situation? We've got a young female. She's seriously injured. We thought it'd be easier to get you to lift her up to the hospital. Okay. Where is she then? She's just over here. Right, let's go have a look.
Shona Stevens was a single parent. She'd been divorced when her daughter Candice was a baby and came home from abroad to live at her mother's house in Irvine.
Has Candice shown you the new book she brought home from school? She wanted me to read it straight away. I said we'd wait till bedtime.
Mom, the game's ready.
Just a minute.
Shona and Candice returned to this country from South Africa in 1988. Her marriage broke up at that time.
So it's drafts, is it?
I got bored of snakes and ladders.
Shona and Candice got on very well together.
Just one.
She cared a lot about Candice.
What's it called?
The Page Master?
Shona was a quiet, reserved girl and a private girl. We moved to South Africa when Shona was about 2 years old, and she went to school there, from junior school to secondary school. She was top of her class always. She attained her school colours, her academic colours, which was quite an achievement.
If I saw things from Richard's point of view, I'd be so afraid of accidents that I'd never leave my room, Alan Taylor muttered.
This is Bawtree Hill Park in Irvine, the route between Shona's home and the shops. Shona walked through here several times a day, and in late October, a woman who works in the precinct remembers seeing Shona with a man police now need to trace.
I stepped out just to have a cigarette, and I saw Shona walking past. She got to the steps, and then all of a sudden, this chap was almost at her heels. He said a few words to her, and then the next thing he said, "See you," and Shona carried on up to the top of the steps.
Shona had quite a small group of friends, and she was never the type to stop and talk just to anyone on the street, you know, any passerby.
What do you think of this? Not sure of the pattern. I'm going to the shops. Do you want anything?
No, I don't think so.
Won't be long.
Thursday, the 10th of November, shortly before 1 o'clock. As usual, Shona made her way through Bawtree Hill Park towards the precinct.
£82, please. There you go. 18p, thank you.
A few shops away was Doug McConaughey.
Well, it was shortly after one when I left the house. I went into the bookies to put a wheel in on.
Good afternoon.
The usual.
Right, would you like an early price?
Oh, yeah, please. Oh, it's better today.
It is.
It was freezing yesterday.
It's lovely today.
Right.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Shona then went back through Bawtry Hill Park.
I was going down the hill and I seen the dog coming up and the man behind it. And I just keep watching the dog because it was in a loose, you know. And the dog was about 12 or 14 feet in front of him. And when the dog passed, I got a glimpse of the man and he says hi, and I says hi. I carried on.
This is a potentially important witness who's never been traced.
A few minutes later, I was walking along, I seen a girl lying in the woods.
Look, can you ring for the police and an ambulance? I've just come through the wood and there's a woman lying there and she's very badly hurt.
Shona was unconscious and had been so severely beaten that an air ambulance was called in from Prestwick Airport. Shona never regained consciousness. She died 3 days later at Glasgow's Southern General Hospital. Bob Lauder, you've made enormous number of inquiries locally. It's now 3 months removed from the murder. How can people help at this stage?
We've still got lots of people who are in the park who haven't yet come forward. We're still turning these people up. It's important that everyone who was in the park that day comes forward and speaks to us and gives us the opportunity to interview them.
Even if they don't think they saw anything important?
Even if they didn't think in their mind they saw anything important, it's important that we get the opportunity to assess that.
Now, there were some people in that reconstruction that plainly are key people you need to talk about. The man who spoke to her a couple of weeks beforehand, before this happened. Have you got any other description of this man?
The man is in his 30s. He was 5'8" in height. He was medium build, short dark hair, dressed casually. Obviously knew Shona. We haven't traced him yet. He may know other people with whom Shona was acquainted, and we need to trace everyone who knew her.
OK, other people in the park. We saw the guy with the dog, a Doberman, I think it was. There were other people who weren't shown in that reconstruction. There was a chap with a bike at one stage that you needed to trace.
Yes, there was. The man was seen entering the park from another direction, going towards where Shona was attacked about 5 to 7 minutes after 1 o'clock. He is a potentially vital witness. He may have seen Shona and anyone else who was there at that time.
And a man seen emerging from the park via some bushes at the far end of the park.
Yes, there was a man, again, he's 35 to 40 years of age, medium build, 5'9". He had fair hair, which was gelled, and he was coming from the direction, again, where Shona was attacked, and it's very important to trace
Now, you think the key to this lies in the local community, but just let's make this clear. These are witnesses you're looking for, they are not suspects.
Yes, we want to get information from anyone who was in that park. We need to speak to everyone who was there, and these people are vital witnesses to us. The community really must help us and come forward and tell us everything they know about that morning in that park.
This man is plainly very dangerous. Please, if you can help, call us here, 0500 600 600. If you recognise yourself as one of those potential witnesses featured in the reconstruction, or if you were simply in Bawtry Hill Park on Thursday the 10th of November, please call us here in the studio. Or you can ring the instant room in Kilmarnock, that's 01 563 572 217. That's 01 563, the code for Kilmarnock, 572 217.
Well, although there are no arrests to report so far as a result of last month's incident desk appeals, it is certainly true to say that every one of those investigations is substantially further forward as a result of viewers' calls, and we had over 250 of them. We'll keep you informed, but with more appeals for your help this month, here again are Detective Constable Jackie Hames and Superintendent David Hatcher.
First on incident desk, take a look at this man. Officers in Newbury would like to speak to him in connection with a series of aggravated burglaries in the Thames Valley area. Aggravated means they were especially nasty crimes. Between the 19th of June and the 2nd of October, there have been a number of incidents where a man has entered hotel bedrooms and nearby flats, all in the Pelican Lane area of Newbury. Here he is in the early hours of the 2nd of October, coming up the hotel fire escape. Do you recognise him? Fortunately, on this occasion, he couldn't get in. Here's an artist's impression of him. He's in his mid-20s, 5'5" to 5'6". He has a shaved head and a very distinctive mark on his neck. Recently, similar incidents have also occurred in Bedfordshire, so if you do recognise him, please call us tonight in the studio. Or you can call the incident room on 01635 31000. That's 01635, the code for Newbury, 31000.
Next, we need your help to trace these men who raped a man in Battersea, South London. On the evening of Sunday the 5th of February, the victim went to visit friends. He left at around 1 a.m. to catch a cab home from Queen's Circus, just outside Battersea Park. After waiting about 5 minutes, this man approached him and asked him if he would like a minicab. He was 25 to 30, 5'10" to 6 foot and of solid build. He wore a green quilted puffer jacket. When the victim refused, a knife was held to his throat. The offender demanded money and was joined by 2 other men. One of them looked like this. He was 20 to 25, between 5'8" and 5'10", and wearing a black bomber jacket with a grey hooded sweatshirt. The third man was between 20 and 25 and wearing a similar sweatshirt. The victim was taken into Battersea Park and raped. The ordeal lasted about 10 minutes, and at approximately 1:20 a.m. they walked away. Take another look at these men. If you recognise them or can help in any way, then please call Battersea Police on 0171 350 1122. That's 0171 350 1122.
Colleagues in South London want to question this gunman and his 3 accomplices about an armed robbery last December. On Thursday the 1st of December at about 3:10 p.m, a man went to this shop, Stereo on Wheels, in Putney. He was accompanied by a second man and they left a white high-top Ford Transit van with the manager to have a car alarm fitted. At about 6:20 p.m, they returned to collect the van. However, once in the shop, they threatened the manager with a gun, pushed him to the ground and dragged him into the back room of his shop. A gang of 4 men then stole a large amount of equipment, which included 12 sets of these 24-carat Phoenix Gold amplifiers. Maybe you've come across some like them in the last couple of months. Take another look at the gunman. He had an indentation mark on the left side of his head. He smelt strongly of paint thinner and spoke with a Cockney accent. If you recognise him or can help in any way, then please call Earlsfield Police Station on 0181 247 8247. That's 0181 247 8247.
And finally, colleagues in Edinburgh would like your help to trace this man in connection with an assault on a young woman. The attack happened in West Crossed Causeway just before 11 a.m. on Tuesday the 20th of December. The victim was threatened at gunpoint, but fortunately she managed to scream out and the man then fled. He's aged between 30 and 35, about 5'6" to 5'8", of medium build with short brown receding hair. At the time of the attack, he was wearing a disguise, which he later discarded in Windmill Place. He left behind this distinctive baseball cap with Arabic writing on the front. If you recognise this or the man, please call colleagues at St Leonard's Police Station on 0131 662 5057. That's 0131, the code for Edinburgh, 662 5057.
The number here to the studio is the standard one, 0500 600 600. That's 0500 600 600. We've now got a rather unusual appeal from Nottingham to police to find a building and some people who, let me stress, are entirely innocent of any crime, but who may know something crucial to a complex and very important inquiry. Do you recognise this room? Perhaps the distinctive green chairs or the brown curtains? And is this you? Or do you know who these women might be? If so, please call us 0500 600 600 or ring Nottingham Police on 01 159 670 999. That's 01 159, the code for Nottingham, 670 999. Now, I have to say, the lines here are very, very busy at the moment. We've got some remarkable leads, we know, on photocall already. 2 possible identifications, 1 probable. In one case, a police officer and a member of the public have both rung in with the same name. We've also got a possible sighting, possible location of one of the people wanted in photocall. But it's chiefly the abduction that people are ringing in about. I just want to find out something more about that. Neil Johnson, tell us a little bit about the sort of calls you've had. I know you're getting overwhelmed.
Yes, the response is tremendous. We're getting a lot of people ringing in. Yes. One lady has told us that she's found a similar dog lead. We've got another lady who's ringing about the car. She thinks she might know where the car comes from. But I would like to emphasise that witnesses differ on the description of the colour of the car and it may well be a darker blue than that portrayed in the reconstruction. And people are now putting together the various items in the kitchen and are coming forward with suggestions as to where this house is or who this offender could be. It's looking really promising at the moment.
Good. Thank you very much indeed. Sue.
Please do call if you can help on that one. And detectives from the Sussex force are with us tonight too, in the hope that somebody watching can help with their investigation into an armed robbery. 3 men terrorised the crew of a security van at a motorway service station. We haven't shown the exact details of the robbery for security reasons, and although actors portray the 3 men who were subjected to this attack, the voices you'll hear describing what happened belong to the victims themselves. Our film starts early in the morning of Monday, November the 28th, when one of Rakedale Security's employees received a phone call from work changing his plans for the day.
Hello?
Hi, Stuart, it's Kev. Someone's called in sick, so can you drive a mark today?
Yeah, all right. I'll be in about 8:45, all right?
Okay, see you later, mate.
All right, bye.
All right, Mark, been in long?
No, only half an hour.
You almost ready?
Yeah, just got to finish booking out.
All right, then, I'll see you in a van.
In 2 minutes.
I'm usually in the office at the security company in Crawley, but on the odd occasion that we're short-staffed, I have to go out on the road. I've known Mark for 20-plus years. We go back a long way. We used to go to school with each other.
You have a good weekend?
Yeah, not bad. It's okay, actually. Went down the pub on Saturday. You?
Stayed in most of the weekend, watched a couple of videos. Right, so do the collections in town, then off to the welcome break, yeah?
Yep, that's it.
It makes a lot of difference when I go out with someone I know. It doesn't seem so much like work.
This is the Forest Road in Pease Pottage, just off the A23. At about 9:15, this motorist spotted a phone box in a car park and pulled off the road to make a call.
I saw a telecom van and a red Sierra. But as the 4 people were sitting in the Sierra and I felt they were quite suspicious being there at that time of the morning, I decided to stay in the car. The rear door was actually open and I noticed a chap sitting in there. He was wearing a dark tan leather jacket, about 35, dark moustache, and he was thinning out a bit on top.
In fact, as it turned out, both the Sierra and the BT van had been stolen in southeast London.
I made a note of the registration number of the Sierra. When I looked round again, the man had actually got into the van. And he was then, that's when I noticed him fiddling about. He looked very suspicious and nervous at that point. When the BT van pulled away, I made a note of the registration number, and then I went and made the phone call.
Hi, Barry. Is it busy?
Yeah. Load of breakfast dishes waiting for you down there.
Oh, great. I better get down there then. See you later.
All right, Pat, won't be long.
Around 15 minutes later, the security van was arriving at the Pease Pottage services on the A23.
I had noticed when we pulled in that there was a BT van there. There was also a man dressed as a BT engineer. He was unreeling some cable from a drum, which I thought he was going to use to repair the telephones. I just assumed that he was going about his business. He kept looking at me and smiling, and I wasn't quite sure whether perhaps I knew him. He was a late 20s, just under 6 foot tall. He had shaved hair, of what hair I could see, because he had a woolly hat on.
Open the door!
Stuart, open the door.
Get out of the van! Put the bag down! Give us some money!
your friend to give us the money!
Give them the money, Stuart.
Because I suffer from epilepsy, I was thinking that I was going to have a fit. I was thinking that if I did have a fit, it might make the situation a lot worse than it was.
Tell him! Okay, I want it now! All right, it's in the back. Get it for me!
My legs went like jelly and you go cold, and I could feel the barrel of the gun and that felt cold too.
Give us the money! Come on, hurry up!
I'd finished breakfast. I walked down the stairs. I heard a noise at the back door. I thought it was somebody waiting to enter for a delivery. When I opened the door, I thought somebody was playing the game until I saw the gun.
Stay down! Look down now! Down now! Yeah! Down on the floor! Face down! Get your face down!
The three men had to run only a few yards to the waiting Sierra.
They gone? Yeah, they're gone.
Hello? Yeah, no, hold on a minute. No, we've just been robbed. Yeah, we're at the Welcome Break, Peace Pottage. Yeah, call the police or something.
The robbers sped up the A23 and within minutes arrived at the Handcross services, where they abandoned the Sierra behind the petrol station. A short time later, both the white estate car and the transit van had disappeared.
When you've realised what's actually happened, you start to think about people that you might have never seen again. You know, your family, your friends. It's the most terrifying thing that I've ever been through, and I would hate it to happen again.
Well, DIC, let's not be in any doubt here. This was a very violent robbery, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, Sue. It was a particularly nasty and violent and aggressive robbery. And the man that you saw on the security video, was thrown to the ground with such force that he received a broken femur and he's recovering from that. The custodian was so traumatised, he's on light office duties still to this day.
And it's 3 months on, so it shows how serious it was. It would seem that there were 4 men involved in this particular robbery.
Yes, there were 4 men, and we've got faces for 3 of them there, which is unusual for a robbery of this nature. And it's probably because they were hanging around for some time.
Particularly the man dressed as a BT engineer.
Yes, the man that's dressed as the BT man is described as 20 years old. He's about 6 foot tall with dark hair, and that's shaved at the sides and the back.
And the witness got a good look at the man in the back seat of the Sierra.
Yes, he's in his late 30s. He's got short, dark brown hair and a moustache and was wearing a dark tanned leather jacket.
And what about the driver of that Sierra?
He's also about 30 to 35 years. He's a much chubbier, round-faced man and heavier build.
And they were both stolen vehicles that they used, the Sierra and the BT van.
Yes, the Sierra was stolen about a month previously in the Shooters Hill area, and the BT van was stolen only 4 days previously. We'd like to hear from anybody who may have seen the red Sierra previous to the robbery. It must have been somewhere for the month previous to the attack.
Yes, it was stolen on the 27th of October, so sometime between then and the 28th of November, somebody may have seen it. And they had false plates on them, didn't they?
That's right. The Sierra, the red Sierra, was bearing the index plates K103SJE, and the BT van was bearing the false plates of G787VYL.
Right, somebody might remember making those plates up.
Somebody may do, and if they can remember innocently perhaps making those plates up, together with the faces, we'd like to hear from them.
And you've linked this robbery with the previous one?
Yes, we have. There was one 2 months previously in Gillingham. Again, a very similar description to the offenders, and violence and firearms was used.
So you think they might not stop till they're caught. If you did see anything that might relate to this robbery, or if you think you know who those gunmen might be, the number to ring here in the studio is 0500 600 600, or you can contact Sussex Police Direct, and that's on 01293 524 242. That's 01293, the code for Crawley, 524242.
Almost everyone sadly knows someone who's been burgled. But as a result of schemes like Operation Bumblebee, which has targeted these crimes, there have been more arrests, fewer burglaries, and more property recovered. But of course that creates a problem of its own. How do you prove that it's stolen, and how do you get the booty back to its rightful owners? The answer? Aladdin's Cave, which this month comes from all around the country. Here to take us through it, Eric Knowles.
Thank you. Well, let me introduce you to a pair of tall, long-legged birds. Cast in bronze, this pair of Japanese cranes just might have been at one stage in your living room or maybe in an ornamental garden. And here's ceramic proof, at least, that love and marriage can occur in a horse and carriage. Maybe they're on the way to Gretna Green, but this is actually Italian porcelain, not of any great age. Capo di Monte, and round about possibly the 1960s, 1970s. A touch of porcelain amore, as the Italians might say. But this oil painting may not look important, but it is as far as the inquiries of the West Mercia police are concerned. I have to say that corner shops are not a very common subject, and it just so happens that the corner shop in this case is an antique shop. Now, Georgian tea caddies come in all different shapes and sizes, but this is a little gem, mainly because it's retained much of its original colour. It owes a little bit to Robert Adam with his fan decoration, this trailing garden, and I love this little ornamental escutcheon. Now, no self-respecting Georgian gentleman would ever leave home without his toilet box and his portmanteau, and this is just such an example. With this, he was always ready to do a quick manicure, or for that matter, he might even manage a quick shave. But what makes this special is it does have engraved on the back the original owner's name on a little brass plate. Now, the Edinburgh police are particularly keen to find the owners of this lovely Georgian silver trophy cup. Just look at the decoration around the base, that lovely stiff acanthus, these fleshy leaves around the belly, and at the front there's a little fox hunt going on, all in full cry. But I love these scroll handles, and they're very finely chiselled with acanthus and husks. And as for the cover, well, there's the fox that got away. Now, I have to say that with a trophy cup like that, you can't help but want to lift it up there, and I can hear the roar of the crowd, and the only thing missing are claret and blue ribbons. Well, a chap can dream, can't he?
You certainly can. And if you spotted something there that's yours, you can call the Aladdin's Cave team responsible for that lot this month. They're on 01563 572 833. That's 01563, which is the code for Kilmarnock, 572 833. Or, of course, you can call us here in the studio on 0500 600 600. And that's the number to ring, of course, if you can help on any of our cases tonight. If you're hesitating, don't, because minor details can add up to whole scenarios. So please do call. The lines here stay open until midnight, and we'll be back with Crimewatch Update in just over an hour's time now, at 11:15.
I'm just trying to catch up with the calls that are coming in now, an enormous volume. On the Luton robbery, on the photo call, we think we've got both names now. Of course, huge volume on the abduction. We'll be back a month from now at 9:30 on Thursday. It's the 16th of March. We'll have a lot more information if we haven't given it tonight. We'll have more appeals then as well. Meanwhile, of course, don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.